You are listening to Storymakers, the podcast for women who are ready to step into their true identity, live with meaningful purpose, find belonging and connection, grow in leadership, and walk boldly in faith. Here you can uncover the story that you were created to live because you were made for such a time as this. Hello, I hope you guys are doing great and that it's spring where you are if you're listening to this today. On the day that I'm publishing it, it's sunny out, and even though Coach Patty in Oregon says it's snowing where she is, it is a blue sky where I am, and I pray that all across the country right now, you get a little bit of blue sky somewhere, no matter how cold it is. I've been desperate for the sun, and I'm talking about multitasking today because I have been just cycling through the multitasking spaghetti dish. It's, they say women, and I'm not saying this is true, but they say women have spaghetti brain and men have waffle brain, and that men go from like, what's in this square, and then they move into the next square, and that women can do all of these things all at once. It's the spaghetti brain. But just because I can, I don't think that it means I always should. And I want you to have an opportunity to think about that today, because if you're listening to this in March of 2026, it's the turn of a season. Probably no matter where you are, there is some version of change of season. And I'm wondering if you are missing out on anything by thinking about focusing on and doing too many things at once. And I think that there's a belief that if we can do 10 things at once, it means that we're actually more productive. And I get it, like listening to something like a podcast like this, but also, reading emails at the same time, or responding to one of your kids via text message, or vacuuming. I totally get. I want to be efficient. I want to get as much done in one space because I have so many things that I need to do and want to do. I totally get it. But if I'm thinking about what I need to do later for dinner or whatever kind of plans we have, and I'm trying to work at the same time, the quality of work that I can do is lowered because I'm thinking about dinner. I was a homeschooler, and I always said my kids are not learning if they're thinking about eating, or they're thinking about leaving the house and going outside to play, or they're thinking about how they would rather be doing anything else than, hanging out with mom and sisters. If they're not learning, then I'm not teaching, because you can only teach if somebody's learning. I, in fact, was only talking. I wasn't teaching. If the people that I had in front of me weren't learning, if they were listening but not learning, if they were in the same room but thinking about other things, right? Our brains are designed to have focus on one thing. And there's a survival mechanism in there for sure. Like, it's really important. But in today's culture, it's really common to drive while you're texting, right? I just saw, like, in our state, I live near the state line, and I just saw on the freeway that they put up a new sign that drivers cannot have any handheld devices. And I've never seen it worded the way they worded it. I'm paraphrasing. But it is a larger sign than I've ever seen in any state, and it's phrased just so kind of dramatically, and I love it. But especially because I have teenage drivers. But it's normal to want to get a lot done. And I think when I started driving all those years ago, the most that I would do at one time was, change the radio station while I was drinking my Quick Trip soda or cherry limeade from Sonic, and maybe try to put some mascara on in the mirror while the light was red. But we would never have considered literally having a text conversation, looking at our phone while driving a 2,000-pound vehicle that could kill somebody. We just never do it. And today's culture is so all about multitasking so that we can hustle, so that we can be essentialists. And I don't think that's actually the concept of essentialism. Essentialism is saying, like, this doesn't matter. It's not going to move the needle. I'm going to get rid of it right now. It's not about multitasking so that I can get 10 trees in the backyard taken down in one day. It's about focusing on the one tree, getting the right tool, so hit it with an axe, not a bat, and actually take that tree down. Or focusing on planting one tree, not trying to plant 10, and spread all of our energy around the entire yard, trying to, let's grow the one oak of righteousness by the river of living water. So when you're trying to multitask, your brain's not designed to do that. And it's actually just switching tasks and jumping from one task to another, back again. And it's actually, you're losing that brain energy because instead of staying focused on one thing and finishing it, completing it, you're using more energy by switching over to this other task and then switching back. And so you're actually depleting your brain. And every switch is creating friction for your brain, creating overwhelm, creating stress. So you can spend a whole day thinking that you've been doing things, but at the end of the day feel like really like unproductive and like you didn't accomplish much, but you're mentally exhausted because the multitasking is draining you and your attention is split and fragmented and scattered around. So when you focus on one thing at a time, something something different is actually happening. Your brain gets to settle in and dial in. Then your nervous system, your brain's the head of your literally the head of your central nervous system. And so it can actually calm down and your thinking and your mind and your soul you get more clarity. You're clearer about it and you have more peace. Then what happens? If you're settled, you're calm, you're clear, and you're peaceful, you can actually move faster and be more accurate in the thing that you're doing, the task at hand, because now your attention is not divided. Think about it this way. If I was recording this podcast and every time my phone buzzes or a squirrel runs through the front yard or the wind blows, I hit pause. And then I looked at it and I did something else. And maybe I go write something on my whiteboard. Maybe I get back on the microphone and I record again. And then I pause and I go walk for a minute and a half on the treadmill. And then I come back to the microphone and I talk to you again. I would just be spending so much energy pausing this podcast recording to go do something else. And whether my physical body moves to go do it or not, my entire mental energy, my mind and my brain, are both stopping one thing that I was on track to do and finish, and actually having to hit stop or pause and go over and give the whiteboard attention, or give the squirrel attention, or give my phone attention, or actually get up and physically go give the treadmill attention and give my body attention. What you would get out of that podcast would be distraction. My level of work, my level of value to create, my level of accuracy about the content that I'm trying to produce and offer to you today to encourage or equip you, it would be lowered at least by, I would say, 20%, if not 50%, because I know me. And I would get, maybe on the treadmill, I would get distracted and think, you know what? I want my water bottle and I want to go get some electrolytes. You know what? I'm almost out of my favorite grapefruit electrolytes. I'm going to go and I'm going to order some off of Amazon. Oh, by the way, like while I'm on Amazon, I'm going to go, I need to order a new backpack. That backpack, it's breaking. I would lose track of what I was actually doing. And so then I wouldn't come back here and finish this podcast at all, potentially. So peace and productivity are going to come from a place called simplicity. And if you hold on to that, instead of trying to look at 10 things all of the time, or think I've just got only a limited amount of time, I've got to get all of these things done in that amount of time. What if you actually prioritize them? Take 2 minutes and say, I need to get all 10 of these things done in the next 2 hours. Prioritize them, batch them. Can any of them be done at the computer? Give yourself 15 minutes to get them all done. And then what do you need to go to the grocery store? Okay, should that be the first thing or the last thing you get done? Probably the last thing if what you have to do afterwards is dinner because you're already in the kitchen. If you just take some time to think through, prioritize, and organize, then you actually simplify everything going on and you give your mind one place to land. So I know this doesn't make all of life simple, but it does help you just give yourself permission to choose one focus and sit down and organize all of the other things. Do a brain dump. We call it a parking lot in our ministry. I just tell everybody, go get a Google document, call it a parking lot, share it with me. And all of the really great ideas or the big questions you have or the grand vision or the micro details that you need to talk about, put them all in the parking lot because they might not be priority, but they do matter. So create a parking lot or just a list somewhere and do a brain dump, clean out the mind castle, right? And decide, right now, I'm going to answer all priority emails. Then I'm going to call and have this conversation with this person. Then I'm going to clean the kitchen. Then, and that means that the one conversation that you're having with that person is going to be succinct and focused, and you're going to be present, and they're going to feel that you're present for them. And then it's going to be over sooner than if you were to try to have that conversation while you're cleaning the kitchen. It doesn't mean it can't be done, but it doesn't mean it should be done at the same time. You are splitting the amount of energy that you're capable of putting into one thing at one moment. So if you allow yourself to be fully in one task, then you actually experience greater calm and accuracy and clarity during that task. And at the end, you'll feel a greater sense of completion and satisfaction about it. So I just want to encourage you to try this today or tomorrow and just pick one task, give it your full attention till you finish it. Close out all the extra tabs on your computer, in your brain, and in your life. Put your phone down and let your mind just rest on one thing. Because you might find potentially that doing less at one time actually helps you accomplish more in the long run. I want to set you up for a successful spring and encourage you to be present and think about your current results that you're creating and how they're going to culminate in the future legacy that is going to impact you, but it's also going to impact all of the people around you. And the people around you need you to be present in this moment. So, bless you, friends. All things are possible. Everything's figure-outable. And I love being here with you for it. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to the show so you don't miss any new episodes. And to learn more about me, my work, and how we can connect, visit sterlingandstonementoring.com or check the show notes. And until next time, remember, all things are possible and figure-outable.